It's my pleasure to introduce Mary Beth Freeman, who runs the superintendent of the Delaware Career Center. And how I met her is through Dave King. And Dave suggested that she talk to our Rotary Club, and I talked to her. And about a week later, I made up at the Delaware Rotary Club, and guess what? Mary Beth was speaking about what she's speaking about today. So she gave a great talk, and she's the superintendent of Delaware Career Center. She received her Bachelor's of Science degree in secondary mathematics education from Wright State in 1985 and a Master's of Education Administration in 1991. She spent 20 years in the Miami Valley Career Center as a teacher and assistant superintendent. She's in her 6th year with the Delaware Area Career Center. Mary Beth?
Thank you, Roger. Let me settle here a little bit. Well, thank you for having me here today. It is truly an honor and a privilege to be able to share with you my passion, and that is education, and in particular career tech education at the Delaware Area Career Center. As Roger stated, my background was not in career tech. My background was a math teacher to start out with. And I started out teaching at a traditional K-12 school district in high school, and it was a small school district in west central Ohio, and it was the year of the drought, and I thought they're going to consolidate these 3 very small districts because there were only like 35 kids to a graduating class, and I thought, I need to look for something else because I was concerned I would lose my job. Well, as I got older and a little wiser, I realized those small school districts will do everything to avoid consolidation. But in the meantime, I put my application out, and I did have a call from what was then Montgomery County JVS, now Miami Valley Career Technology Center. And I have to tell you, I thought, I'm going to go there for a practice interview because I really don't want to teach at a vocational school, but that'll be good practice for a real job. And I'm embarrassed to tell you, but that is exactly what went through my mind. I had a student that was going to go to the Career Center over there, tried to talk her out of it. She was smart enough not to listen to me. When I went to that interview, though, I was real impressed with how progressive they were, the things that they were doing for kids, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try this. And that's how I got into what was then vocational education. That's how old I am and how long that's been, and has now evolved to career technical education, and I truly believe in what we do to help students. And so that's kind of how I got to where I am today. First thing I want to talk about are students, and the 2 students that we have up here are both Worthington students, because everything we do comes back to, is it in the best interest of these 2 young people and their peers? So let me first tell you, sometimes kids can come to the Career Center, they get into a program and they find exactly what it is they want to do, and it's their niche and it's great. Sometimes they can come, though, and they can figure out, boy, I like this for a hobby, but I don't think I want to do this for a living. And that is the case of our first young lady, which is who is Harina Sasaki, and she is from Thomas Worthington and is in the cosmetology program. Now, fortunately, what Harina discovered before she went out and spent $20,000 at a proprietary school, which is what it does cost at the cosmetology school, she discovered she likes to do this for fun, but what she really wants to do is she's going to pursue a career as an occupational therapist. But what she's doing is she's going to go ahead, she's going to get her license, and while she's putting herself through school, she's going to be able to use her cosmetology license in order to do that, instead of maybe working at McDonald's and some of the other places. The second young man on the right is a graduate of the Career Center. He's from Worthington Kilbourne, and that is Nick Abramitz. Nick actually just completed his associate's degree in criminology at Columbus State Community College, where he had a 4.0. He has been accepted to transfer to the Ohio State University to continue his studies there. He has also accepted an internship with the Drug Enforcement Administration for this summer, and he is also the captain, which is the highest ranking status, of the Delaware Sheriff's Office Explorers Program. He is a spokesperson for the Explorers Program, speaking at local schools to students who are interested in joining, and he conducts interviews of new recruits. Finally, he also holds a leadership position at the Delaware YMCA, overseeing their maintenance work and assists with projects and many other local YMCAs. So I tell you this because the world of career tech has evolved a little bit, and to give you an idea of what some of the students in your area are doing. The other thing is we have both high school and adult education. We're typically known for the high school piece, but in adult education, we offer workforce development programs. Some of our signature, very strong programs are in public safety. Our fire program and our law enforcement program. We also have dental assisting, phlebotomy, a lot of computer, Cisco kinds of programs as well. We offer ABLE, which is Adult Basic Literacy Education and GED classes for those who maybe didn't get their high school diploma, or the ABLE classes, if they've been out for a while and they need to brush up on some basic skills to move forward, they're able to do that as well. Another strong component of our adult education is the customized training. And we go into companies and they'll say, we would like some training in customer service or whatever that may be, and we'll offer that. Or they may say, we would like some customer training in some of the Microsoft Office pieces, but we want you to come and teach it specifically to our group of folks based on our needs. And so those are some of the things that we do as well. And as I go through today, I'm going to give you this 10,000-foot view of who we are versus a lot of details, because I think it's important that you first kind of understand who we are and what we do. To give you a little bit of history of career technical education, back in the 1960s, Governor Rhodes said, we need an educational system that prepares students for the workforce. Back in the earlier days in agricultural society, the skills that people needed were very low skills, and all they really needed to do was be able to write their name. But times had changed, and we were in a manufacturing society at that time. And so we needed to graduate students who had more than just being able to write their name, skills that were higher than that. They needed to be able to do repetitive and basic reading, writing, and math. So they were semi-skilled jobs. But what's happened since the 1960s, and when Governor Rhodes was a true father of what was vocational education and now career tech, is that we've transitioned into more of a knowledge base or a technological society. And so the students coming out and to go into any career, they need to be able to solve problems and they need to be able to think critically. And so just as our workforce has changed, which is what we were designed to do initially, so has career tech. So for many of us, if we go back to the day when we were in school and we think about when the kids went to the vocational school, what they did, it has evolved tremendously from that. So who do we serve? We serve our tax-paying districts, or the 4 school districts in Delaware County, Big Walnut, Buckeye Valley, Delaware, and Olentangy Local School District. Excuse me. And we also serve, through open enrollment, we serve quite a few students from Westerville City Schools. Worthington City School District is what's called a contracted district. Every school in the state of Ohio has to be part of a career technical planning district. And they are part of our career technical planning district along with the tax-paying districts, but Worthington District pays us directly versus through a tax base is what that means. And we also have become the school for the Ohio School for the Deaf. And so when you walk in our hallways, you're going to see a lot of signers for those particular students. So when we look at the percentage of where our students come from, this year, when we started off the year, we were serving over 1,200 students, and we have programs on campus, and we have what's called satellite programs. And those satellite programs are programs, for instance, at our schools, we run some ag programs. We have some business dual enrollment programs with Columbus State at a couple of our schools. And we have some family and consumer science types programs. And those are actually located at the home schools. So those are the satellite programs. So about 55% of our students are actually on campus, where the other 45 are located in one of our satellites. Of those on campus, just over half of those are what's called half-day students, and that means they go back to their home school for academics, where the other are full-day students, and they stay with us for academics. When the students stay with us for academics, they're getting the same academics that they would get at their home school. They have to meet the same graduation requirements as those from the home school. So we also have all the English, math, language arts. We have dual enrollment classes. We have calculus or pre-calculus and forensic science and courses such as that. So as I was kind of stating, so we offer over 20 high school career technical programs. We have the traditional programs such as cosmetology or auto tech. We have the highly technical programs such as Cisco networking. We're evolving our electronics program into a pre-engineering program. We have our satellite programs, which I just discussed. What I'm going to call emerging programs. One of our newer programs is a bioscience program. The academics, as I said, we do offer those. And down at the bottom, not only are we bound by state standards and state curriculum, I always say we have two masters, because we also have to meet, if it's in the health area, we have to meet the standards by the Department of Nursing or the Department of Public Safety when in our law enforcement and our fire programs. So we have several masters in different standards that we do have to meet for all of our kids. One thing that's relatively new to Career Tech is a report card. Our homeschools have had report cards for years. Our students are included in those homeschool report cards. But in the last couple of years, we now have a report card. And actually, I don't know where Brian went, but his wife is the person at ODE who has really done all the work behind this to make this happen. And she's done an excellent job. What we have are report cards for career technical planning districts. And so in addition to our programs on site and our satellites, some of our homeschools, Worthington has Project Lead the Way, which is a career technical program. So all of that data is a part of this. I'm proud to say that on our last year's report card, we were one of only 2 career centers in the state of Ohio that had all A's on their report card. And I credit our staff with that. They've done a wonderful job. The career and technical achievement is where students either take what's called an industry credential exam, or it's a career technical program assessment. And so that's the data that has gone into that particular score. There are 2 percentages up there. The first percentage is what is our career technical planning district percentage. The second one is the career center specifically in terms of the achievement of that particular item. The post-program outcomes looks at students who are positively placed about 6 to 9 months out after high school. Are they in the military? Are they in the workforce related to a field of their study? Or are they in an apprenticeship or in a college experience? And you can see that in both cases, over 93% of our students are positively placed. The 4-year graduation rate and the 5-year graduation rate, again, are excellent, well over 90%, and so we're proud of that. One of the things I want to briefly talk about, this is my 7th year, and I came in the summer of 2008. And some things that have happened over the years, the yellow line is our enrollment, and that means each individual student. So if I have students at my satellites and we have them for 1 period a day, out of 8 periods, they'd be counted as a one student. In the ADM, that 1 student would be counted as 1/8. So our enrollment has gone up significantly. Our ADM has gone up significantly, inflation has gone up, and we have worked very diligently at keeping our operating expenses pretty flat. One of the reasons for that is when we came, we had the auditor come in and volunteer. We requested to have a performance audit done. My math background, I'm a big believer in using data and facts in order to make decisions. And so we brought them in, and that's been a great guide for us to say, where is it that we can maybe look at making cuts or draw back on? And so we have done that based on data. And through that, we have been able to keep our spending fairly steady.
What is ADM?
I'm sorry, average daily membership. Thank you. Sometimes in education we talk in a lot of acronyms, so I appreciate that. Average daily membership. One of the things I want to talk about is we are going to be going to a single site. Currently we have our 2 sites. Our original campus is on State Route 521, just northeast of Delaware, and our south campus is located on Route 23. And one of the things that, through that performance audit that I just mentioned, it said we should do a facilities assessment and a facilities audit. And so we have done that. And some things that we've learned from that has been that it would be beneficial for us to go to one campus. So our board, in the fall, they voted and approved that we would go to one campus and that we would move to the south campus. So what are some of the benefits of moving to that single site? Well, one of the things I thought was most interesting was the reduction in our busing costs. I asked our home schools, what will it save you in 1 year in terms of just busing by going to one campus instead of two? And the figures that came back ranged anywhere from $46,000 a year to $57,000 a year per district. Those are huge dollar costs when we look at our taxpayer dollars. And so I have to tell you, our home districts are really glad that we're going to one campus for that reason alone, let alone other reasons. Right now, there are a lot of duplicate systems that are going on. Maintenance systems, heating and air systems, roofing systems, parking lot, all of those kind of things. And the reason why is right now we have 2 high schools, but when you look at our numbers on campus, we have what's considered 2 small high schools on campus. Well, research shows us that student achievement is highest when it's at a medium-sized high school. If we combine, we will be at a medium-sized high school equivalent. So there are duplicate maintenance systems and systems that would be reduced. Reduce those capital improvements over time. Enhance student safety. We know that the schools are very different today than when we grew up, and we need to make sure that we have safe measures in place. As we look at both of our buildings, they were not designed with the idea of making sure that you check everybody coming in, and the way that they're designed, people can easily come in and can easily just go through the building without having to necessarily check in at the front office. And so we have controls in place now, and we have buzzer systems in place, but it's not the best that we would want it to be. The other thing is we have an SRO officer at our North campus. We do not have an SRO officer at our South campus. So how do we look at being able to capitalize on those kind of pieces? More resources are available to our North student kids than our South. Obviously, the SRO. We have a media center at our North campus. We don't at our South campus. There are other resources available to kids at the North that we don't have at South. And it's only fair that our kids get the same level of resources made available to them. We are going to be hiring a school nurse, which we've not had in the past. But again, that person's going to be at the North campus until we consolidate. It will allow for more student collaboration and contact time. Currently, we have teachers that travel back and forth. I could use that as instructional time versus travel time. And for those students who are at the South campus, we have some academics this year on the South campus, but for many of them, if they wanted academics, would have to go north and travel back and forth. So there again, the students are on the road or they're traveling back and forth to their home school. So it would also encourage that collaboration and contact time. So why did the board vote to go to the South campus? Well, first and foremost, it's the center of Delaware County. And when you look at the schools that we serve, when you look at Worthington and you also look at Westerville, it's truly much more centrally located for all students to attend. Reduces the home district travel time. When we asked all the districts what their preference was, if they had a preference of north or south, all of them said south with the exception of one, and they said it didn't matter because the time was equivalent. Otherwise, the South campus would reduce their travel time. Although the South campus doesn't have as much acreage, the expansion options are actually greater. When we did our facilities assessment, Kleiningers did the site analysis, and just the way we could build on and add on to the South Building campus gives us more flexibility than what the North campus would. It's visible and accessible. And one of the things that's important to us is that the community uses our facilities, that it's easily accessible, good parking, those types of things, and it is visible and accessible. So what I did today, like I said, was just to give you that 10,000-foot overview of our school and our district. But at this time, I would like to entertain any questions that you may have. Yes?
There is a lot of legislation out there requiring public schools to offer more career tech education. Does that affect you also? It's all so confusing.
It does affect us, but I think in a positive way. We have very good relationships with our home districts, and we are working with all of them. So when I talked about the satellite programs out in our home districts, that's one of the ways we've partnered in order to help meet that legislation. So I will tell you, my belief is that every student would benefit from a career tech course. And so I can't house all of them. So I think that we have to work collaboratively with our partner schools and say, how do we make available in different type of opportunities for our kids?
Thank you.
Yes.
You have relationships with business and industry, and who serves on your board?
Yeah. We absolutely have relationships with business and industry. Every one of our career tech programs has what's called an advisory committee that is made up of people from business and industry. Every year in the fall, we have a dinner and a presentation for our advisory committee members, and it's wonderful to see hundreds and hundreds of these people from business and industry come in. And great question on the board. Our board is made up of the districts, our tax-paying districts, so it would be Olentangy, Delaware City, Buckeye Valley, Big Walnut, and then there is a member from the ESC of Central Ohio on the board. Yes, Rich?
I think many of our members will be surprised that students can earn college credit at Delaware Area Career Center. Can you expand a little bit about that and how that's done?
Yes. There's several ways that our students can earn college credit, and one is the academic courses, and we talked a little bit about that through the dual enrollment opportunities that they have. The other way is our career tech programs can actually earn college credit as well. For instance, let's take our fire program. If our students are in the fire program, they're taking the same content, the same curriculum through the Department of Public Safety that if a student is at Columbus State or at any other post-secondary institution taking the fire curriculum. So they have the ability to actually take that curriculum and earn college credits for that. Then when they want to go on and matriculate into post-secondary education, those credits are already out of the way, and they're well on their way to a degree. We're not at this point yet, but there are some career centers in the state, and I would like to get to this, where students are actually graduating from high school with both a high school diploma and an associate's degree.
I see some of the districts have started these STEM schools. Is there much of a difference between the STEM and the technical schools?
Actually, it's all career tech, and it's interesting you say that, because right now, one is we've had an electronics program, and our teacher is retiring, and so we have actually been working with Olentangy School District they are starting a STEM academy for their 9th and 10th graders, and then the idea is that we will have the pre-engineering as 11th and 12th graders, and that those kids can matriculate from 9th and 10th and then into the 11th and 12th. For the non-Olentangy students, we're going to have a 10th grade lab that would be longer in length, and where the students could come to us as 10th graders, be able to get what the Olentangy kids are getting in 9th and 10th grade, and again, matriculate into the pre-engineering program. And again, another way of partnering with our home districts.
Thank you.
Yes.
For the adult program, what's the fee schedule for that?
It depends on the program that you're taking. That can be found on our website at DelawareAreaCC.org.